Hey, what's up? So I wanted to do a bit of an overview of Faust and the new patch that just came out today, and I kind of just wanted to go through some of his patch notes, kind of top to bottom, and show some of my findings that I found on the first day, and just kind of show kind of the strengths of it, because he got a fair amount of stuff that I think made him a lot better. And yeah, let's get right into it. So for the first thing, this is kind of just more of a quality of life change. They improved the buffer on his instant air dash. Now when you do jump into the dash button, it's a lot easier to get the instant air dash just like that. Really useful going back and forth in neutral, just spacing yourself, and you can just do like a last second instant air dash jump H just like this. Or if you're a bit closer, you can threaten doing air dash jump PP. It's always something that you could do before, but just inputting it was a little tricky compared to the traditional air dashes that had like the sigil. I don't know, I guess they just coded it weird, but before when I would do an instant air dash, I would just do jump and I would just get nothing, like the dash wouldn't come out. So a lot easier now, really nice quality of life. For the next one, it is Crouching P, which is this 2P. It now low profiles on frame 3, which I used to hate low profile frame 3 attacks like Happy Chaos 2K, but you know what, I changed my mind. I think they're pretty cool and they're really super skillful, and I'm really glad that Faust has it now. So yeah, it's really good. Before, there would be times I would do 2P and I would get 6 speed, so I'm happy those days are basically gone now. But it's really useful to low profile moves like a Zato 5P, for example, right? You can just, before, like, it's a frame 3 low profile, so you still have to be there somewhat earlier than him, but you know, you can kind of just go under him a little bit better like that, which is really helpful. I think it'll make approaching 2P a lot stronger, and you see how Happy Chaos players abuse dash up 2K. The low profile attacks in this game are strong, so I think it's really nice that Faust got that. So the next changes that he got were added pushback on a few of his moves, and those would be his 6P, his 5H, and his sweep. As you can see, they push back way further now. I'd say the 6P is a little bit more inconsequential. It's nice, you know, if you get the bad 6P confirm off of a 5P, you won't get punished as badly now because you'll get pushed far away, but you're still quite negative. And another thing that is nice about this is it's really good versus opponents that are heavily dash blocking at you, right? So a big thing that would be really good versus Faust is just kind of like dash blocking at him like over and over. So now if you like space, you can space yourself out a lot better than before because of just how far the 5H pushes you out. So just bullying with far slash into 5H is just so strong versus people that are just, you know, head empty dash blocking like Leo players. So I'm honestly probably the most excited for this buff, and I think it'll have the most impact to his matchups. 5H also has more pushback, allowing you to condition for item throw a little bit better, which is nice. So you can do something like this. Before, this 5H would definitely get you punished if you did that item throw, but now it is much, yeah, you recover much sooner and you can kind of defend yourself. It really depends also if the opponent is like heavily like, okay, I'm gonna do dash heavy like this. They have to do it right away. They basically can't react, and that's when doing like far slash 5H nothing and then maybe reacting to them is really strong, and sometimes even throwing in a far slash 5H to scalpel. So I think that's like a huge buff, along with his sweep, which makes doing block strings from his 2K a lot better. So, you know, if you condition for this 2D, it's -4, which is super good. That's like probably one of the best sweeps on block period in the game. So you can just kind of condition your opponent for 2K 2D frame traps and, you know, not be in a bad position if they do block. And you can also poke with 2D, which is really strong too. It goes quite far and is a low. So it's really good versus opponents that are doing a lot of run-up 6Ps too, like this. So you'll go right under that, or even counter-hit them in some cases. Or, yeah, you know what I mean. Alright, next thing I wanted to show are actually the pushback changes, but how they're slight nerfs as well. I think they're mostly buffs, and I'm very okay with the nerfs that have been caused from it. But now if you do a close slash 5H into Scalpel from kind of far away, it doesn't combo anymore on counter hit, which kind of sucks, like this. So it only really combos if you're really close up, like even closer than that actually, like here. So that is a bit of a hit, and also if you get a far slash 5H like this, it does not combo into Tornado like it used to before at a lot of ranges like this. It has to be a little bit closer, otherwise it's just not going to combo. But as a replacement, you have a faster mix, which I will get into next, and you can do far slash 2H into mix from farther distances. So it kind of makes up for that in that way, so it's not too bad. Another quick nerf that I wanted to talk about is just how his base damage scaling has changed, and this is kind of a system-wide change, so it's not exclusive to Faust, but now your 5H starter damage is actually significantly less than before. It's maybe like 10%, 15% or something. So it does actually hurt, but you know, I feel like everybody else is going to be doing less damage to you off of hits like that in general, like Ram, for example. So I think it's fine. So the next change that I wanted to talk about is Faust Mix. And if you notice, it's a little bit faster. Actually, a fair amount faster. It is now 17 frames when it was previously 21 frames. So that is a 4-frame decrease, which is pretty big. And it allows for you to frame trap the opponent in places that you normally couldn't before because it was just too slow. So now I have like Geo on our 4-frame 5P out of block. Before, something like this would not frame trap her from like this far. Yeah, so like it's definitely like a pretty nice buff in that frame trap sense. And like a bit closer ranges too. At jump 2K will start frame trapping 5-frame buttons especially very easily. And that's, I think, a pretty good change overall into his like frame trap game, and it works pretty well, and it's kind of just in line with just keeping the opponent away and having to respect them after blocking Faust normals, and not just like constantly dash block and just keep running at them. So it's nice that Faust has more threats to kind of throw at the opponent when they block. And another thing is that cross-up mix is faster now, which is actually really nice. I think before it was pretty fast as it is, but I think now it's extra fast. I think air throwing it on reaction is kind of a thing of the past. You have to be pretty cracked to do that now or really be looking for it. So I think that's a pretty good buff to it as well. But you got to be careful not to do it too fast, or you will go past them, or in some cases they will auto guard because it's just so fast. But yeah, so you just gotta practice it a little bit. Just kind of jump up, and maybe I'll make a video about how to do cross-up tornado one day. But yeah, just gotta practice it. And another thing too is after a command grab, if you time, so I have it on 5P on wake up. After a command grab, you could time a cross-up mix like this and actually counter hit them for doing wake up 5P, which previously before I don't think worked. So I think that's a pretty good buff for Faust. So another change that came of mix being 17 frames now is now you have some new combos that you can do, which are pretty sick. Before you could never do a double 5P 6P into tornado on a heavy character, and now you can do that, which is really nice because it's basically impossible to hit confirm a single 5P into a 6P, so being able to do twice, 2 into 1 is really nice. And if you do happen to confirm one into a 6P, you actually get a tornado loop, which you previously didn't do before. And this also is the case off of 2K, which is super nice. I'm not gonna lie, the corner carry off of a starter like that is something you get pretty often, and it's really, really helpful for his reward. Another buff that actually came of it is now on crouching opponents, jump 2K actually combos. You get 5 hits there, right? So if you have some pesky Happy Chaos player, you know, just running up and doing 2K at you, like so, you can actually get a punish on them with the jump 2K, which is, oh my god, this is probably one of his biggest buffs as well, because this is such a common thing to do versus Faust, because a lot of times, you know, maybe he'll crawl your standing far slashes, so people's answer is they do run up 2Ks and run up 2Ss, and now you have like a high damage call out punish with J2K, which I think is more reminiscent of old Faust as well, so it's nice to kind of see that come back to his neutral game. I'm super hyped for this, I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, besides that, you also can get a new instant overhead combo on crouching opponents as JK into J2K into tornado combos. And because they're crouching, which is what gives them the extra hit stun, you instant overhead them and get that combo. This is quite nice. I posted a clip about it earlier when there's like a bunch of setups that you can do with the off of like a lit afro, because when you light the afro, JKJD doesn't combo, so I think this is like a pretty sizable buff. And now you can do like JK into J2K, which is a pretty universal instant overhead. And finally, the last change, which I think is one of the coolest and smartest changes they've given to Faust. The other changes I think buff his neutral game the most, but I think this one just specifically buffs a single item, which is ton weight. And as Scarecrow no longer has a hurt box at its feet now. It's just enough off the floor that you can avoid Sleight Head and ton weight, so it's not going to get you over like a banana or a mini Faust Stampede, for example, which I was a little bummed about. But you can kind of use this to just like get in on the opponent, because they're guard crushed like this, right? So you can get that plus Scarecrow if they're, you know, just catch them lacking. There's kind of a few ways to use it. I think like the best way is definitely like putting them in normal block stun and then like left righting them with this, but you got to make sure you're crossing them up with the weight itself if you do this, or otherwise it'll be auto guarded by the shockwave. But yeah, so I think that's really strong, especially if you get meter. You can actually confirm off of it and get a combo, which I think is quite strong. So that also buffs his Oki as well, because you can kind of just do that and like get a combo and stuff. It's pretty sick. And the last thing I wanted to talk about with the Scarecrow buff with ton weight is if you do happen to cross them up, you can actually get a meaty charged Scarecrow and have it recover in time and still cover their backdash with 5k like that. And you know, if you charge Scarecrow and they block it, you'll be plus on block. So it is actually quite a strong 50-50 that you can just do from simply getting ton weight in neutral. So I think that's quite strong, and it's going to definitely change up Faust's item game a lot. And that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. This is kind of just all the stuff that I found on the first day labbing the new Faust in this patch, and I'm sure there's going to be even more stuff that I find later down the line. If you guys find anything cool with Faust, make sure to @me on Twitter, because I'm just trying to steal tech, you know how I do. And you can post some stuff or any cool ideas you found with Faust or anything in the patch in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.